with dependable service you can count on. Members helping members achieve more financially, reach further, stand taller. Tip-friendly society, protecting our members' income, safeguarding their future. At TIP, we care about our members. TIP is a friendly society for all education sector workers. We're member-owned and member-controlled. So, for over 20 years, we've been offering only the best secure savings, loans, and insurance products our members want and need for themselves and their families, with dependable service you can count on. Members helping members achieve more financially, reach further, stand taller. TIP-friendly society, protecting our members' income, safeguarding their future. At TIP, we care about our members. TIP is a friendly society for all education sector workers. We're member-owned and member-controlled. So, for over 20 years, we've been offering only the best secure savings, loans, and insurance products our members want and need for themselves and their families, with dependable service you can count on. Members helping members achieve more financially, reach further, stand taller. TIP-friendly society, protecting our members' income, safeguarding their future. At TIP, we care about our members. TIP is a friendly society for all education sector workers. We're member-owned and member-controlled. So, for over 20 years, we've been offering only the best secure savings, loans, and insurance products our members want and need for themselves and their families, with dependable service you can count on. Members helping members achieve more financially, reach further, stand taller. TIP-friendly society, protecting our members' income, safeguarding their future.
Testing one.
At TIP, we care about our members. TIP is a friendly society for all education sector workers. We're member-owned and member-controlled. So, for over 20 years, we've been offering only the best secure savings, loans, and insurance products our members want and need for themselves and their families, with dependable service you can count on. Members helping members achieve more financially, reach further, stand taller. TIP-friendly society, protecting our members' income, safeguarding their future. At TIP.
All, I want to welcome you to this 25th anniversary celebration financial webinar for TIP Friendly Society. As you would be aware, TIP is celebrating 25 years of service to members of the education profession by providing suitable financial plans as well as insurance programs that would have benefited us all. This year, we are celebrating under the theme, Reimaging Our Identity for Sustainable Development. In doing so, we were keen to ensure that we introduced new products that would assist you 25 years or even 50 years from now. One of which is what we call the tip, lock, and the key. Many of you want to have keys for things like Benz and Beamers and houses on the hill. However, we were told that persons want keys for Teslas, but I think Teslas now have keypads instead of keys. But we'll get there, we'll get there. The tip, lock, and key is really a product that you will hear about much more, but it is one of those products that will ensure that your financial future is sustainable. We want to have you put some things together for later on when you are in need of it. We have many other products, such as our school and college plan. And we are having a lot of activities over this week. As we go through this webinar, you will hear further about what is it we intend to do. But at this time, as we all do at TIP, we invite the Lord's presence into all that we do. So at this time, we will ask Ms. Patricia Williams-Ford, our Claims and Underwriting Supervisor, to invite the Lord's presence into our midst.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Before we begin, we'd like to give thanks, and we'll be using Psalm 100 to do so. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Let us pray. Most righteous and eternal Father, in you we live, in you we move, in you we have our being. Lord, we thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you for life. We thank you for your grace and your mercies. We thank you for keeping us thus far. We thank you for this moment where we can come together and celebrate 25 years of service to our members, to our staff, to the education industry. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to be driven to protect our teachers' income. And while we do that, Lord, we thank you that you're always in the midst of everything that we do. Lord, for this evening session, we ask you to be in the midst as you are always in our midst. We ask that you bless and keep each and every one here on site and those online. We thank you for your many blessings as we give you all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise. Through your Son, Christ Jesus, we pray. Amen.
So colleagues all, we are in for a wonderful evening. This evening, we are starting something that is grand, something that is new, and something that is sustainable. We expect, or we hope, that in the near future, before we get to 50, many of you may not be around when we get to 50, but I will, and I'll be here at 75. And those, no, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. But I want to point out to you that we have great things in store. And if you are a member of the family of TIP, then we would want to transform your financial future. We would want to change you from just a regular saver to an investor. We want you to have your money work for you. And here at TIP, we do not treat with lazy money. So at this time, to tell us a little more about TIP by way of remark, we will invite Dr. Garth Anderson, our president, who is known as a heavy lifter, to zoom in to us so that he can give us his remarks. Dr. Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies here, our moderator. And let me greet all our members and prospective members who are online, and to use this opportunity to welcome you all to the webinar. As you are all aware by now, TIP is celebrating 25 years of sterling contribution as it relates to protecting the income of all our members. But we are moving beyond just protecting, but to find new avenues of advancing and ensuring that there is growth and development in your investment. And one way of doing so, certainly, is to provide good financial advice to all our members so that you can make wise financial choices. Clearly, one of those choices that you'll have to make is how you further invest in the TIP brand that we have. So this evening, we are happy that you have joined us. And as we seek to re-image ourselves as an institution for the next 25 and even 75 years from now, one of the investments that is critical to that sustainability, that is critical to that re-imaging of our identity, is to ensure that our members fully understand the financial environment in which we operate and the products and services that are offered by tip-friendly society and how they can take advantage of same. So we are happy that you are here, and we really honor your commitment, indeed loyalty, if you may, to the institution, and we look forward to that. And this financial webinar, we hope, will be a standard part of our operation as we seek to engage members and to keep them on the cutting edge of what is happening in the financial arena. So welcome and thank you. And we look forward to your full participation in the engagement. And we also particularly welcome those who will be making presentations. We are looking forward to engaging in that area as well, as we seek to ensure that the education that we provide is usable and will advance tip-friendly society. Thank you, and we look forward to you participating in other such events in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. President, for those wise words. The old adage says age before beauty, but here at TIP, we do things our way. And therefore, at this time, I am going to move on from the new kid on the block and welcome a stalwart that has been with us since inception. At this time, I will ask our Assistant General Manager, Ms. Judith Wilson, to bring her remarks. Over to you, Judith.
Dr. Garth Anderson, guest speaker, Mr. Zidane Semester, the General Manager, Mr. Wilson South, colleagues online, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. TIP celebrated its 25th anniversary on September 26, 2022, 25 years of providing insurance and financial services to our members in the education sector. We are midway in our week of celebrations and thought it fit that we should use some time to reflect on our members' financial well-being, hence this financial webinar. Our celebration this year is under the theme, Reimagine Our Identity for Sustainable Development, which is apt as we continue to adjust based on the demands of a changing world. We are deeply committed to being the society of choice and will continue to innovate to give our members the best products and services. Thanks to you, our members, for experiencing this milestone with us. As without you, there would be no tip-friendly society. Enjoy the session, and as you would say to your students, take copious notes. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you again, Madam Judith Wilson. Colleagues, TIP has your back and is in your corner. TIP has the distinction of being, I think I can say, the first financial institution to respond to COVID by providing our members with a COVID special loan. We were quick to respond. And that is because we have your interest at heart, and your interest is also ours. At this time, I will invite our marketing manager, Ms. Judy Miller, to introduce our guest speaker.
Tip 25 and a joke and a lie. Tip give your loan for your money 10 times. Tip for your family, for you and your child. Tip lend your money at a low, low price. Tip give your life insurance, peace of mind and assurance. Cause your life important. So secure yourself now. Come join with Tip. Get your loan them quick. Quick. It no matter where you live, Kingston Mobile Center, Mandeville, come join with Tip. Get a loan them quick. Reimaging our identity for sustainable development. Come join with TIP. Securing our members' income while safeguarding their future. Tip 25 and a joke and a lie. Tip give your loan for your money 10 times. Tip for your family, for you and your child. Tip lend your money at a low, low price. Tip give your life insurance, peace of mind.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Zidane Simister. He's a man of God. He holds a Master's of Science degree in economics from the University of the West Indies. He began his professional career at the BOJ and later transitioned to Guardian Group. He also served at JMMB, and in those capacities, he did research and risk. During his stint at JMMB, he basically entered entrepreneurship. So he dabbled with that for a little while, and then he subsequently went into another financial institution where he became vice president for special research. So thereafter, he got the call from God to enter into entrepreneurship full time. So today he is CFO and CEO of Value Zone Financial Services. Please help me welcome our special guest. And as Ms. Wilson said earlier, please take copious notes. He says he has a lot of information to share with us.
All right, thank you for the heartiest welcome. I just want to extend the gratitude for having me here. So there's the senior management of TIP, the staff and members, And also I want to special thank you to the host for having me here to speak today. Now, Mrs. Miller Smith did not tell you that while at Guardian, we both worked at Guardian at the same time. And at Guardian, I was nicknamed One Touch Zidane. A funny story with that is that I came over playing business house football, and I was new to the Guardian group. So of course, the new players sat on the bench. And I was there sitting on the bench, and my team was losing the game for the period which I was on the bench. And what happened is that the last few minutes, the coach decided to put me on. In the last few minutes, the very first ball that came to me, I just tried at the goal. My first touch went inside the goal. So then they nicknamed me One Touch Zidane. So I'm hoping that today, with my first time being a tip, I'm able to use my first touch to score many goals today. All right, so thank you for having me again. And today we are going to be discussing managing your personal finance. And I'm going to embark on telling you what the environment looks like. We're all concerned about COVID-19, recovery of it, what sort of landscape we have in Jamaica, how do we navigate that landscape, and how do we invest personally and as a company going forward. And I'm hoping that from the nuggets and the tips and strategies that here our members will be able to embark on a journey which would improve their own finances and improve their lives. Because I have a motto is that you have to embark on life, but you have to be your increasing best. Not just settle for your best, but your increasing best. Because tomorrow there's a new best, there's a new level for you to embark on. And I'm glad and happy that I heard that TIP is embarking on a new journey to be their increasing best and bringing along your members to be their increasing best as well. So let's get into the presentation, and I want it to be as vibrant and I want to be as participating as possible, because I'm going to borrow a phrase from your Minister of Education, which says, no child shall be left behind. So no member is going to be left behind tonight. All right, let's continue. So in our this go forward. Okay, no problem. All right, sorry about that. Let's continue. So our outline today, we'll be discussing the economic landscape, as we suggest, what it looks like in the global society and what it also looks like locally. And how do we navigate that, having known what is the landscape and the terrain, how we traverse the terrain and make the best investment decision and saving decisions going forward. We also want to talk about the relationship that persons have with money, because ironically, your psychology and how you think about money affects how you invest, it affects how you borrow, affects your producing your increased invest going forward. We also want to talk about the limited resources that we have. How do we manage the limited resources in order to improve our lives, improving our landscape and improving our standard of living? So we also want to look on changing your mindset, having that shift to ensure that you're able to take advantage of what is happening in the world and ever-changing world. TIP is on that path of saying we want to be the first movers, we want to be the efficient movers, and want our members to come along this journey. We're going to talk about how do we increase our savings and investment, and we're going to talk about how do we stick to those new strategies that we're going to be talking about. So first up, well, what is the economic landscape? A lot of persons are concerned about war between Ukraine and Russia, geopolitical tensions, their supply constraints that's going on. What all of that means for us here in Jamaica. What it means is that you're going to have inflation pressures. When you can't get goods, then the money that you have to chase in those few goods, it means that you're going to be demanding more goods, price is going to be increased. If there is a problem at the ports, you getting your goods, it means therefore that there's going to be some amount of supply constraints. When there's limited amount of supply, you know how that goes, is that it's going to put some pressure on prices going forward. With the war, it's the grains that's coming from Russia and Ukraine. There's going to be some problems getting those grains to the wider world. So you're going to increase the prices there. With the energy, Russia is a country that exports a lot of energy to the wider world. With their kind of war going on, restrictions on that, you're going to see that energy prices will be increasing. And we all saw that locally. So we will get into that a little bit more, explaining that landscape. Also, with the fact that there's going to be inflationary pressures, you would have heard that the Fed has been increasing interest rate record levels. They're increasing interest rate to the point where they go back to 2008, where we had the financial crisis. That was the last time we were seeing these levels of increasing interest rate. What does that mean? That means the borrowing costs across the world has been increasing. Growth has been recovering from COVID-19 low levels, but of course it has waned somewhat because of the fact that there are crises that we have to deal with in the current landscape. What all that means locally. You know, Jamaica's always been a large importer, so we import all kinds of things. We import food, we also import prices. Ironically, we import all those things. But our fiscal position has been fairly good. We have been collecting more than what we're spending. Our Minister of Finance has been doing a fairly good job despite or in spite of the COVID challenges. But we still have some inflation that is persisting because, of course, we import a lot of the goods that we're using. We import oil, prices are increasing. I'm sure you guys would have seen the price increases at the pumps. And of course, that would have been affecting the distribution of goods and the transportation of goods, which would find its way somewhere into the end use of goods, that when you go to the supermarket, you're going to see those prices increasing. I must stop here to say that with the weather conditions that have recently passed with tropical storm Ian, well, now Hurricane Ian, we will have seen some flood. And of course, the agricultural sector would have had some negative impact about that. So we are expecting, even though we don't have the numbers as yet, we are expecting some amount of fallout with the food prices going forward. So look forward to seeing some increases when I go to the supermarket and stuff like that. So we're still, in the short term, should be seeing some increases in inflation. Locally, we have seen much to the debate of many of the financial persons in Jamaica that the Bank of Jamaica started to increase rates to combat this inflation way too early. Some person may be thinking that, but they would have had their outlook and expectation on inflation, and they are suggesting that they were right in increasing interest rate, the policy rate going forward. What all that means is that the cost of funding locally, all across the industry, has increased. It means, therefore, that persons who are giving loans, they may have to reprice some of those loans. But I'm sure here at TIP, we're fighting for our members and we try to keep the loan rate as best as possible, restrained, so that we are able to benefit our members and our members can have the lowest rate when they come to TIP. So your loan consolidation, come to TIP. I'm sure the guys are holding restraint just because they want to see the benefit of their members. Notwithstanding, we have seen some amount of recovery in our economy along the growth path, because remember in COVID-19, we stopped for several months. We weren't exporting, we weren't doing business. So we started at a very low level. So when we started getting back production, we started to export back. We started to see the traveling from tourists. The tourists have that bump up, and we tend to see our hotel side started to see some recovery. And that would, of course, provide some positive impetus for the growth in our economy. We saw some trade. Of course, everybody's going to buy, everybody's going to consume. So, of course, retail, wholesale and retail section would have also provided some positive impetus for growth. We expect that growth to slow, however, because, of course, we know that most of the manufacturers borrow to expand their business. So as interest rate increases, they're going to borrow less, because of course they can't move their end prices as fast as they would want to combat the movement in their cost of borrowing. What does that mean for all of us here? We want to know what that means for each and every member. That means that cash is king. How many times have we heard that? Stock up on liquidity, cash is king. But it is true. In the times when interest rate is increasing, opportunities may come up. Persons may, negatively to say this, but person may can't afford the things that they have mortgaged. So therefore, an opportunity may come up for you to buy a real estate home because somebody is forced to sell. Opportunities may come up because there may be an investment for you to take part in. Because you have the cash, you're able to make that investment. So cash is king in this kind of environment. Also, if you want to make investment in investment securities, I would say pay attention to the variable rate interest rate. That when interest rate increases, you're able to make that increase income from an increase in interest rates. I don't want to say if you're going to invest in products that are fixed in nature, you want to do it short term and not long term, say money is not tied up for long periods at the low interest rate, but we expect some bump up or continuation of increases in interest rate. We also want to say you want to make some allocations. Don't just save in J-dollar. I know this may not be a positive for the overall economy, but I'm just saying, if you have some amount of allocations, put some of allocations into your foreign currency portfolio that will help you to buffer whatever depreciation is expected in local dollar. Also, the government is going to, they have to, in order to spur growth, they're going to spend money on the infrastructure. So if you're able to position yourself to take advantage of the infrastructure projects and spin off on infrastructure projects, then you're able to stand good in making some money there. And I want to make mention here, though it may not be something that is salient or at the forefront of members' mind, also have your little business, your little side hustle. Diversified income stream is always good. And that extra money that you make from your business, bring it here to TIP. And they will help you to invest it out for you. So we'll move on to your relationship with money. What I find over the years is that how you were brought up, the lessons you were learned about money, you carry that through to your adulthood. You carry that through to the rest of your life and your career. Say for argument's sake, you grew up with parents that were very nervous about money. They didn't discuss money with you. You learn about money as you go along through life. Then you're going to be nervous about money growing up. You're going to be nervous about money in your adulthood. Can you imagine growing up in a household where the father was being blamed for not bringing home the bacon? The father was being blamed for all the financial crisis that is happening. And you as a man growing up, you don't want that sort of a problem with you. So you're going to be very tight. You're going to be very cautious with your money. So you may not invest as much as you should because you're saying, I don't want to lose it because I saw my father going through that sort of a problem and it caused a problem in their relationship. That may impact you. What we're trying to say here is that you have to investigate what is your relationship with money. Suppose you grew up always not having. So when you get into a position where you're now earning, you want to show everybody that you do have. Right? So you couldn't afford the BMWs back then because you were taking the bus. Now that you're in a position to buy the BMW, you're going to buy the BMW. Because what it is saying is that your psychology, your relationship with money is that money shows how well off you are, how accomplished you are. So you spend probably what you don't have because you want to show that you have made it. You can make it in your bank account, you know, but no, nobody will see that. I have to make it for people to see that I make it. Suppose your parents were saying, well, they're arguing about monies and how their financial condition was. You want to make daddy or mommy proud. So what you did, you ensure that whatever you bought, the nice big house, you overspend on the vacation. You give them nice, fancy, extravagant gifts because you're trying to compensate for something that you would have seen in your childhood. So what we're saying is that investigate that, research that, find out what are the drivers with that. So then you know how best it is to navigate your relationship with money. Your relationship with money should be one where it advances you, it advances your development. It pushes you on to the next level. It increases your increasing bless. A famous person once said, empty your wallet in your brain and your brain will fill up your wallet. But we don't look at it like that mostly. Our relationship with money is different. Some of us will grow in church and we hear the money is the root of all evil. However, exactly. However, that's a misuse of that scripture, in my opinion, my humble opinion. However, how many of us know that money is mentioned in the Bible over 2,000 times? That means there are other areas about money that God wanted you to know. Research it. Don't just take that particular scripture and let that be your relationship that you have with money. God wants you to prosper. Tip wants you to prosper. So let's prosper together. I'm here now, I'm going to discuss, having made that money, having worked, you have your dreams, you have your goals, but somewhere along the line, you're not able to make ends meet. You're not able to manage that money. Money come through your hand like quicksand. We're going to discuss some budgeting methods that would assist you. And I'm going to use the last method of discussion to show you that it's about mindset rather than it is about a formula. So let's walk on that journey together. The first one I want to discuss is what they call zero-based budgeting. That budget basically, every single month you write a new budget. Every single month you zero that budget. What do I mean by that? That means that you have a portion, every single dollar, you're tracking every single dollar, and you put aside some money in your account for savings, bring it here to tip, by the way. And next month, when you get your new paycheck, you have a new budget again for that. So when next month comes, you're not thinking about, oh, last month I saved $20,000, so I can draw on that $20,000. That money is locked away. Lock it away at tip. Lock and key at tip, right? So that's basically what that budget method is saying, that you form a new budget every period of when you receive that income, and every money is accounted for. So it is good for persons who can track the money, can track their expenses, and there are apps for that. You have apps that you can track your expenses. And if you don't know to use the app, I don't have the app on your phone, just simply write it down in a stand-up panel book that you can use going forward. The other method I want to discuss is the envelope system. Now, the envelope system is a system in which persons apportion the money in different compartments. So you can use a physical envelope if you want, or you can use a compartment. They sell them on Amazon, they sell them. They can just apportion and label it of utilities, transportation, food, you can do that. Or you can have physical accounts. So you can have some accounts here, and you label that account in your mind. One for utilities, one for transportation, and then you draw on those accounts. And so it is helpful for persons who want to apportion their monies and understanding how they spend their monies. The other method is a basic percentage kind of formula where you say, I'm going to spend 50% on my needs. You're going to spend the 30% on your wants, and then you're going to spend your 20% saving. This is a straight formula. So if you make $100, you put in $50 towards your expenses, $30 towards your wants, and $20 towards your savings. No, I caution you to say, I'm a believer in tithing, so you find somewhere putting tithing somewhere along in there, right? But that is what the method is saying. All right, so As you can see, this has nothing really in relation to a knee-jerk reaction, an emergency, a health scare. You're just putting aside these particular percentages blanketly across your monies that you earn per month. There's also a method they call no budget. So persons who are online who would say, I can't bother with budget. I don't believe in this budget writing down thing. I can't bother with that. That's too much work. There is a non-budget method as well, where you basically said you're dividing your income into fixed expenses, and then the rest you are saying you're going to save, and then you do whatever you want to do with the balance. You know those persons who, when you get the paycheck, you basically go in and you go online and pay all your mortgage first. You just do an online transfer, pay your mortgages, pay all your utility bills, and then what is left, you say, okay, that's my money to go and play with. That's essentially what this method is saying. You're not done in the budget. You're simply saying, I am going to pay all my expenses, my mortgage, my light bills, my utilities, everything. And then I have the rest to go out on a dinner date, go out on a vacation. That's what this method is basically saying. And then you have the 5-jar principle. This is a Jewish principle where they're saying they started off with 10% for tithes. They're saying you must give away 10% for charity. And then it goes around in saying you go around spending your 50% on your expenses again. So it is similar to the one previously, except that they break it down, your 20 and 30% into tithes, charity, savings, and so forth. No. You would realize that all of those budgeting and allocation methodology, they focus on expenses. Your mindset is on, let me cover my expenses. Your mindset is on, let me blanketly save a percentage of the money I earn and put it on an investment account. There's no real intention about goal-oriented investments. There's no intention about saving. You're not really intentional about what I want to accomplish in life. You're basically saying, I'm just going to do a blanket thing and save. So your mindset is on the negative. Your mindset is on paying your bills. Let's shift that mindset and focus on savings. Let savings be your core. So I change that formula for you. That formula we normally say income minus expenses equals savings, not true? But let's change that and say income minus my savings and investment, and what is left is my expenses. So you realize by shifting that mindset, your focus now is on savings and investment. The next thing I want to bring to you is in every single budgeting method that we have gone through so far, income is fixed. It's your salary, and whatever salary you earn, you spend from it, you save from it. In this method, let's shift our mindset again. Your income is fluid. Your income doesn't have to be fixed. Why not have a part-time job? We're teachers. We can tutor on the side. Many of us here have hidden talents. You can sing. Yes, put out a song on YouTube. I wrote a book called The Ocean Escape. It's a book of poetry. Where does a man in finance, a man that has his master's in economics, I've worked in finance industry for almost 20 years, where does he get poetry from? But I do it on my spare time, people liked it. I said, let's put it on a book. The Ocean Escape is now available on Amazon. You might be good at decorating. Many of the females here are. Why not do a decorating business? Many of us are great cooks. Christmas cakes. Why not think about a pastry business? Judy Sweet Tooth. Many of us are great at decorating. Yes, Airbnb is a market now that persons to decorate the Airbnb for them. They need persons to clean the Airbnb for them. Why not set up a cleaning and decorative business for the Airbnb? I know persons want their Airbnb lawns to be manicured and properly trimmed. I can tell you it's very difficult to find a reliable gardener. Very difficult. Well, let's just say we have the skills to find those gardening persons. Why not embark on having that side business? So income in that formula of income minus savings and saving equal expenses, the income is not fixed. We can also, let's say want to stay in education, we can also empty our wallets in our brain so that the brain can fill up back our wallet. Further your education. There's a promotion here at TIP. Work yourself to be next in line. So you knock on the general manager door. Hello, I just got my PhD. Talk to me, sir. Be next in line. Of course, in a different language. Well, of course. But promote yourself by developing yourself. So let's explore the parts to it. As I made mention that we're going to focus on income minus savings and investment equal expenses. Now, your income is not fixed, it is fluid. It's ever changing. What are some of the things that you can do to increase your income? We briefly mentioned some of them. Start your business, start a side hustle, have a part-time job. There are a lot of, in COVID, the advent of COVID, what that left us with is that there are a lot of online jobs. Persons are paying people to make calls. In your downtime, local and overseas, in your downtime, earn some US dollars, make some calls. Search the market for those high and yielding investments, and you can make that income. Let's focus on the main part of what that formula is saying. Take out your savings and investment first. Now, in that saving, I want you to pay attention that that saving is not fixed. If your income is not fixed in the formula, then your savings and investment is not fixed. And your expenses are not fixed. We'll soon get to the expenses side. So you're going to scour the market for all those investments. Let's just say this month you earn $150 in income. 100 of it was from your main salary account. The 50 was from your side business. Your expenses, as you know it, is $100. What that means is that you can save this month $50, correct? Let's say next month, the side also did not do so well. You made 120. But your expenses, as you know it, was 100. Most person would just save the 20. I say no. You have said to yourself you're going to save 50. So go to your expenses and always find ways to move your expenses down lower. And that is why your expenses is not fixed into this mindset. Your expenses is measured. And once you have that mindset, you would realize that there are some things we're overspending on. Who says we have to eat lobster every Sunday? Who said we have to eat oxtail every Saturday? No, I'm not for all thinking that we should band our bellies and go into skin and bones. But what I'm saying is that if you look at your expenses on a monthly basis, the idea is not to pay a percentage to your expenses. It's not to feed your expenses. The idea is to measure it. The idea is to sustain it or bring it lower. Find every single way to bring your expenses lower, because what you're intentional about is your saving and investment. So that formula is fluid, it's iterative. Every part is moving, but your main focus is saving and investing. I will give an example. I know a couple. And they said to themselves, I'm going to go 1 year, don't buy me any gifts. And I won't buy you any gifts. No, that may not work in all relationships. I'm not telling you to start problems. Yes, they are still together. They're still together. They're still together. However, the 1 year of not buying any gifts, they were able to take themselves into a new dimension of investment. And a year or two later, they were able to move that, purchase a home. I'm just saying, look at your circumstance. Everybody's circumstance is unique. You must know what sacrifices you can make to achieve your saving goal. Because in that formula, saving is an investment is the main goal, not satisfying your expenses, but also thinking of it that you can move your income. All right. Now we know it will be remiss of me not to say that we have to look at debt. Well, most persons we don't earn enough that we can just spend from cash. We don't live in a cash-based society. Some of us, we have to acquire things by taking loans. TIP is here for you for the most affordable and efficient loan. However, in borrowing that money from TIP, there is good debt and there is bad debt. What I mean by good debt and bad debt? When you're borrowing, you must borrow to improve your situation. If you're borrowing for consumption or borrowing to go to a party, borrow to go to a vacation, then at the end of that period of vacationing and partying, you're no better off, but you're stuck with the loan to pay. So use a loan to buy stuff or invest in stuff that would further your own development and earning ability. Mortgage. You buy the house appreciates in value. All if you live in there, it appreciates in value. You can build a little thing to the side and you can get some rental income. I'm not telling people to do that. I'm just saying there are ways for you to increase your income. Education loan. Develop yourself. Do debt consolidation. If you realize that TIP has the lowest interest rate and more efficient loan processing business, consolidate your loans. You might save yourself the interest expenses that you're paying on your loan if you consolidate. What are some of the bad debt? And this doesn't mean bad debt for the accountants who say that the debt that you can't pay. It's the use of it. So if you're using it to buy things or on things that does not improve your standard of living, improve your circumstances, then you're putting yourself in a worse situation. Credit cards, vacations, entertainment, extravagant living. You know the list. You know the bridges that you're going to buy, the Louis Vuitton. You know. You know. I'm saying make those debt work for you in the best possible way, especially in this environment where you might take advantage of the profit opportunities. We have been talking about savings and investment being the most important part of the formula, shifting the mindset. What are some of the strategies that we can embark or use to ensure that we are increasing our investments? We have to be intentional about what we're researching about. You can't invest. You can't invest if you don't know what you're getting into, how it works, what is required, what is the return. And the next thing, you have to see it, you have to speak it. Vision boards work. Put it on your vision board, speak it, go in the mirror and say, Mr. Clayton All is going to buy that house up Beverly Hills next year. No, it's you, so you should say it. Say it. Faith, faith. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Next year, exactly. Exactly, exactly. Speak it into being, visualize it, then you can conceive it. Then you want to ensure that you have different accounts for targeted goals. Now, it's the same kind of concept where you have the different compartments for your envelope method, but this is using accounts to do it. So it's not easily accessible. So if you're saving towards a particular house, then you don't want the money to be accessible to you, because you might just spend it and go back to poor habits, right?
Get a quick need.
Get a quick need. So you don't want to do that. You have to spend time on researching how best to increase the income, because remember, the income is fluid, it's not static. I'm not promoting static and stable income. I'm promoting you going out there and increasing your income levels. So research ways of, based on your skill set, based on what you have planned, how you can increase your income. You have to set smart action items. Now, by smart, I mean it has to be very specific. Don't just be broad brushing an idea, action item. Be very specific. Let it be measurable. So Mr. Clayton Hall is going to purchase the Beverly house, and he can tell you how many bedrooms in it. And he can tell you when. It is measurable. He knows that it's going to cost him about $40, $50 million. And he said, I will have that $50 million by next year. It must be achievable. So if he is not in a position to get the 50 million, however, he must be having a strategy to make that 50 million achievable. Now, the R in SMART is you have to make it relevant. Why does he want that house in Beverly Hills? If his why is weak, then he won't have to stick to it, isn't it? If his why is just because Judy, live up there, then he's not going to say, why I want to live beside Judy? His why has to be, you know what? I want that because I want to leave a legacy for my kids. I want that because that is my self-actualization. So when he has to buy the many Bridgets and the Louis Vuitton, he's going to say, no, I can't buy that because my why is greater than the Bridget. And it has to be time-bound. You have to be very specific. And that's why I said to him, next year. Action item has to be time-specific, next year. If it's not time-specific, then you won't work towards it and achieve it in the time you have set. Last but not least, you have to have a system that penalizes you when you delay or you don't do something. So I have an accountability partner. Accountability partner doesn't necessarily mean your life partner, because your life partner may not be in a position to correct you or to be on your back. But if your life partner is somebody like that, then you can make the person be an accountable partner. Could be a friend, could be a mentor. Somebody that can hold you accountable for not reaching your targets. And have a system that penalizes you. So if you said to your accountability partner, I'm going to do research on what strategies I can increase my income. I'm going to look into that part-time job offering online that I saw last week. I'm going to do it by this week. If you don't do it, you have to pay that accountability partner $5,000, something like that. No, we don't want to lose no money, no sure? So we're not going to want to pay the accountability partner $5,000. So we're going to ensure that we meet those deadlines and specific targets. And those strategies will help you into achieving your savings. But I want to leave that last one because I want to focus a little bit on that last one on to the next few slides. Your why. Your why has to be greater than your circumstances in order to make you move. You have to evoke some thought of you to move forward. Now, my why is that I wanted to surpass last generation so that next generation will be on a better footing. What does that mean in simple terms? My mother came from Sherwood Content, Trelawney. That's where Eastern Boat is from, in some deep rural bush. She came, she made something of herself. She sent me to school. She gave me a start. And she's still running to this day, she's still running with investments and savings. But I look at that and I say, but if my mother can give me that, then I need to ensure that given that start, I am able to put something on that. I'm able to carry the family a little further. So my why is that I have to do that. So when somebody says, buy this BMW, come to this vacation, I know that my why is more serious than that vacation. I know my why is more serious than an extravagant lifestyle. What is your why? Look in the mirror, speak your why. Every single time that you want to go contrary to your plans and your strategy and your budgeting and your personal finance allocations, speak to your why. Why am I doing this? And of course, in focusing on your why, you have to realize that you require some amount of interim success. If you don't have some interim success, then you're going to say, why am I doing this? There has to be some fruit for your labor. So when you put the money with tip, you're going to see some interest in your account. If you put $10,000 in your account every single month, at the end of it, you should see greater than $120,000. Now that $10,000 is one less dinner date. Very expensive. I was scrolling through IG the other day and I saw this river restaurant and the dishes look great. The cameraman and the servers, they make it look great. When I look at the prices, I'm like, okay, that's great also. So yeah, of course, dinner dates are expensive, but imagine if you take one less dinner date and put your money at it, you will see some interim results. And if that interim result is going to make you stick to your plan, stick to your strategy going forward, even when you decided that there are some distractions. And you have to stay the course. Staying the course means enjoying the fruit of your labor in the end. Because in Hebrews 12 verse 11 it says, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. What that means is that if you stick to it, if you're disciplined enough, if you're consistent enough, pushing through that barrier, you will see the end result of your labor and your stick-to-itiveness. You will see it in increasing wealth. And what we're saying here, for the family at it, stay the course. Invest in yourself, invest in your future and your goals, and you will see the results later. Thank you.
Profound words, profound words. Many of us have relationships, well, all of us have relationships with money, but sometimes you wonder what kind of relationship it is. I was just thinking here that is that X relationship, where we need to find a way of becoming a wooer of money instead of a repeller. Right, Judy? We need to find a way. We need to create that balance with money. So I want to thank you for leaving us with those nuggets. When you spoke, I had to go and Google how many times money is mentioned in the Bible. And Google said it is mentioned 125 times. I see many persons who have been going to church since they were yay high, who trying to figure out where else in the Bible it speaks to money. Do you think more than that? It's more than that? So finally, I want to just indicate that as educators, we know the value of emptying our wallet into our brain, because it is something that we would have invested in when we invest in ourselves, and TIP is here to help us. in doing that. I think that what was most profound for me, however, is your mention of onward progression. And by onward progression, I mean making sure that the next generation is better than you were. My granny said, if you can't give your children something better than I gave you, then your life is worth it. And I have lived by that. I have sought to make sure that my life is not worthless. We are going to, at this time, invite some persons. We are going to have questions. Do we have questions online? So let me see if there are any questions for the speaker from our conversation. Any questions for speaker? So let me start it off, Mr. Simister. I would want you to just share a little more for us in terms of any recommendations you would have regarding investment. I have been a fan of partnerships and pooling, and it is something that was historically frowned upon because, well, let me tell you about a little history. Immediately after emancipation, Blacks began pooling their money to purchase land, and the planters did not want that. So they in fact changed the law, restricting the number of persons who could join partnerships. So even today, we only have the maximum that I think can be in a partnership now is I think 20. And that really has no logical relevance. There's no logic to say why 20 and not 30. It came out of that historical reality. But what is your view on partnership in terms of investment, and how do you think that would assist us going forward?
Okay, there is investment club that I think can go up to 50, but then again, what is the difference between 20 and 50? It's just magical numbers that they have picked. No, I believe that partnerships is good. So let me ask you something. If you have 100% of zero, that's still zero. But if you have 25% of a much larger number, that is greater than zero, correct? So when you pool your funds together to achieve, you can achieve much more despite having a share that is much smaller. So pool investments have been a vehicle in which ensures that if you can't meet the investment individually, but to give you a chance to get some exposure. Let's say you had a pool investment that was going to invest in real estate. You may not have the 20 or $25 million to buy, or 50 million to buy your Beverly Hills house. But suppose you had $1,000, $10,000, and every member had their $10,000, you might get to that 50 million, true? And you all share into the Beverly Hills house, and whatever increases that you may get from holding that real estate investment, then everybody shares in it. So there is a positive to ensure that both persons or all persons share into that exposure by the pool investment.
Thank you much. I think we will now flip online for a question.
So we have a question from Eva Coleman, and the question is, what advice can you give to persons who are in deep debt and can't save anything at all?
Okay, so debt spiral and in deep indebtedness requires a serious attention. Now, what tends to happen first, you have to have a sequential approach to your finances. So you have to look first and foremost, look on all the debt that you have. Some persons decide to have a snowball effect where they pay off the easy low-hanging fruit first. I'm saying no, pay off or try to consolidate with your high interest payments first. You will save some interest payment on a monthly basis, by tackling that high interest rate that you have first. Deal with that first. When you deal with your high interest rate first, what happens that that money that you would have saved from doing that, think about it as you don't have it anymore. Let the savings that you have from that work for you. So if you went and get to a lower interest rate to pay off that high debt, then the savings from the interest rate payment, consider you don't have it. Invest that money, save that money to help you to move on to the next debt level. And that is how you take your time getting out of that debt situation. And of course, you have to be thinking about increasing your income. Now, if he's in a debt, he or she is in a high debt level scenario, then obviously the income level that he has cannot sustain that level. And he has to think about increasing his income level, the fluidity of income, along with paying off your high interest rate debt first. And those strategies combined together will help him along the way. But like I said, high indebtedness is a serious issue that may require those persons to be taken aside and deal with on a case-by-case basis, because each person's situation is unique.
So I'm happy with the answers to those two first questions. And I will want to point out that here at TIP, because we are a friendly society, we do have investment and debt counseling for our members. And we do have programs that are geared towards assisting them in getting out of debt. And I also want to point out that I think you were foreshadowing, very, very soon, you will hear, or members will hear, that TIP is embarking on a real estate portfolio. We will soon be launching a real estate subsidiary whereby all the members of TIP will be able to put their few $1,000s into a pool whereby we will seek to earn some of the interest rates that we see going on the open market.
That's good. That's excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
We have another question online.
That's correct. So on YouTube, we have Glorious Graham. And the question is, what are some of the short-term investment that can be made by us, as in members from TIP? So Miss, we want to Judy.
So short-term investment. So outside of the investment facility I just spoke of, we are more focused here at TIP at long-term goals. So our product called the TIP Lock and Key is in fact one such investment that provides very good interest rates. However, we recommend that you invest for a period of over 5 years, because in so doing, we may be able to get some what they're called, some tax waiver.
Yes, some tax
so in that case, we have those. But we are encouraging persons to consider the debt you have, look at embarking on our debt consolidation loan, pay down your high price interest rate loans like credit cards and so forth, and let us have a conversation. Our marketing and member services persons at TIP are here for your service. So at this time, if we have no further questions, we will switch now to our technical team. One question? Yes. Microphone.
Okay. So you spoke about a lot of, on savings and expenses, but then there's a school of thought that you must also live. How do you balance? So you mentioned some of this stuff, you know, about the budget and everything else. How do you balance living, you know, and also preparing for your future? with savings and investment.
Okay, so by living, Mrs. Miller Smith, I think you're making mention of living a little, enjoying life a little, correct? All right, so you can have targeted time and savings for you to live a little. So if it is that you want to plan a vacation, save towards it. All I'm saying is do not borrow for the vacation. So if you want to take that vacation, you know when you're taking a vacation. Generally, you have to put in the time for your vacation. Maybe summer, maybe you know when you're having a vacation. So you save money towards it, structured way in some savings account here at it. So you say, okay, that's it. That is the cost of my vacation. I'm going to save $10,000 towards it, $20,000, $15,000, and you make it measured expenses. So you're measuring to the timeline to enjoy that. If you're talking about on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, then you remember you have to make sacrifices. So I'm not expecting you in order to make those goals that you're going to be living all the time. You have to plan your living. So you plan when you go to enjoy yourself. That's just the sheer nature in which we're living in. We're not born with those large endowments, most of us. So we have to make calculated decisions. I don't know if Mrs. Smith can live every single week, but we have to make plans around living, and that's what I'm saying. Don't be led by the hype of life. That life is all about the living. Life is more than the living. Life is also leaving a legacy for the ones to come so that they can live a little better than we have.
Yeah. It means, therefore, you should not live today at the expense of tomorrow. Yeah. We will now move on to our technical team who will. Yes, we have another question, so let's take that one. Jay.
This has to do with the volume of US dollars that you should have in your portfolio versus Jamaican dollars, because I heard you spoke about a balanced portfolio. Would you recommend persons on who earn Jamaican dollars to use those Jamaican dollar earnings to buy US dollars to save, to invest? Is it a strategy that you would recommend?
I most certainly would say yes. You have to have a little bit of your savings and your investment in US dollars. So if you earn in J dollars only, remember that as the dollar moves, I remember last year we were talking about 140s. No, we're talking about 150s. And I can tell you next year we're going to talk about 160s and 170s. So that movement in the exchange rate, it means therefore that when you get your paycheck each time, it can buy less next month, less next year. In order to combat some of that, what we call purchasing power, you might want to safeguard your portfolio and your investment portfolio by saving in some US dollars. I'm not saying you must convert everything because you must live, as Mrs. Miller Smith says. Yes, you must live a little. So some of your transactions are going to be in J dollar. However, you can have some amount in US dollars to safeguard those movements. And if you study Jamaica long enough, you will know that leading up to September, the dollar has a little bit, the local dollar can appreciate a little bit. And then following September, going to the end of the year, there is a depreciation in the dollar. There's a lot of import buying, a lot of setting of transaction overseas. So there's a demand for US dollar in that time. So if you watch the market and study long enough, you will know when to buy and when to stock up. Okay?
Thank you kindly. I think we would have benefited immensely from those conversations. For the final time, we will now move over to the technical team. And the face you will see next should be, well, I'm not quite sure, but that seems to be a male. Yeah. So let's let's go over to Sheldon.
Right. Get the prostate tested. Men, 40 and over. To the writing, get the prostate tested. Men, 40 and over. To the writing, get the prostate tested. Men, 40 and
Yes,
over.
I don't know. I don't know why Sheldon is looking at me while he's saying that. But just to be sure, I know a female urologist with small fingers. I know her. Yes. We should also have an advert for the pool fund.
Every nickel make a mucker. And one cocoa full basket. The tip pool fund is a perfect way to put away money for a rainy day. For as little as $1,000 per month, our members can save towards their future, whether it's a child's education or just to go on some leisure. Our rates are competitive. And with this saving, our members can get a loan to buy a car or a house. Visit one of our offices or speak to one of our business development officers who are willing to serve you and give you information on the Tip Pool Fund or any other product at Tip Friendly Society.
Yes. So that was one, and we also have another from Patricia, our Tip for Life product.
Excited about the Tip for Life suite of products. This is a insurance product where members pay premium from as low as $2,050 per month up to $7,050 per month. All members are covered in the event of accident, surgery, hospitalization, and death. Members are able to cover their spouses on the plan as well. All female members also have savings component. Members can enjoy savings while being covered. A combo package and some free benefits for life
So, ladies and gentlemen, all our audience here and in cyberspace, we want to apologize for the little technical glitches. We hope you heard about the Tip for Life product, because that is our flagship product, and it is something we believe every member, every person working in the education facility should have. So at this time, it says all good things must come to an end so that better things can begin. I want to thank all the participants, Mr. Simister. You, in fact, broadened our horizon and gave us snippets to think about. I am certain I will be telling my mirror tomorrow morning about that house in Beverly Hills. So my mirror had better be prepared to pay its due. It must pay rent to being my house so that I can buy another house. But we want to thank you all in cyberspace for listening. We want to thank the persons, the staff at TIP who worked behind the scene. We want to thank you on behalf of all our members for the experiences we have had with it. And as we continue to celebrate this 25th anniversary, we are asking that all persons join us at our other events. But we couldn't be tipped unless we had something to give away. So for all persons in cyberspace, this one is for you. You may send in your answer. So we are going to be taking one from Facebook and one from Zoom. I don't know if there are persons on Twitter. Do we have people on Twitter? So the question for our Facebook people, what is the theme for our 25th anniversary? You type that theme into the chat and we will be certain to identify the first person who got it correct, and you will have a gift coming. And the second one for our people on Zoom, into the chat, you are going to tell me what is the name of our tip anniversary product and all those things we spoke about today. What is the name of our tip anniversary product? And the other question is, what is the theme for our 25th anniversary? And finally, this question can be answered on either of the platforms. I want you to tell me one other event that we have remaining in our 25th anniversary celebration for the rest of this week. Just one other event that we have. And Madam Nicola, could you tell us in cyberspace if we have a winner? The people on Zoom? No answers from Zoom? And on, okay, so there's one answer and it's incorrect. But you can keep your answers coming in. We will identify the winner and you will be sure to receive your gift. So we are at an end for this financial webinar. And I just want to remind you that here at TIP, serving you is our pleasure. GM, I think you should just take it. So our general manager, Mr. South, is coming to tell us about new input. And this one is new, so it is not on the answers that you must provide.
This is just giving you information, members and staff. TIP will be featured on the Jamaica Stock Exchange television channels tomorrow at 9:20 a.m. The channels to watch are Digicel, channel 28, and Flow, channel 143. So just to repeat, we will be on the Jamaica Stock Exchange TV tomorrow morning at 9:20 a.m. Channel 28 for Digicel and for Flow, channel 143. Let's hope that you will be able to join us then. Bye.
And members, please remember our outside broadcast will be here at the Kingston office with Miss Kitty starting at 3 p.m. So we look forward to having you. And please also join us on our YouTube and Facebook channels to view our awards ceremony, which will commence at 7 o'clock on Saturday, October 1st. Thank you, and we look forward to having you.
up to $7,050 per month. Our members are covered in the event of
Signing out from Tip Friendly Society, our corporate office at 80 Offertree Road. Thank you for participating,
Also have a maternity.
those in-house and
Embedded in this
online.
plan. The plan also has a savings component, so members can enjoy savings while being covered. A combo package at such reasonable offerings, the Tip for Life plan truly stands out as a special product for our members. We are excited about the Tip for Life suite of products. This is a group life insurance product where members pay premium from as low as $2,050 per month up to $7,050 per month. Our members are covered in the event of accident, surgery, hospitalization, and death. Members are able to cover their spouses on the plan as well. Our female members also have a maternity sweetener facility embedded in this plan. The plan also has a savings component, so members can enjoy savings while being covered. A combo package at such reasonable offerings, the Tip for Life plan truly stands out as a special product for our members.